Rounding to 100 in large numbers, practice 1. Hello, my name is Sarah. Thank you for joining me for this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to practice rounding to the hundreds place value in large numbers. You will need a whiteboard, piece of paper, or the handout available with this lesson, and something to write with. Let's get started. In order to be able to round to the nearest hundred, we need to know how to count by hundreds. Let's practice that now together. Count by hundreds with me. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. Well done. The first number we're going to round to the nearest hundreds is 6,980. 6,980. Please copy this down. We're going to round this to the nearest hundreds. Follow along with me. What number is in the hundreds place value? Let's underline it. The 9 is in the hundreds place value. What number will tell 980 how to round? The 8. The 8 is going to tell us how to round. What number can we ignore? We can ignore the 6 for now. So we are going to focus on 980. What two hundreds is 980 between? It is between 900 and 1000. Remember, 0 to 4 tells you to round down. 5 to 9 tells you to round up. The 8 tells us to round up to 1000. This will be a little tricky though. Let's walk through this. When we write the number that 6,980 rounds to, usually we will have the 6 and then add this number. The problem is that this is 1,000. We cannot put 61,000 because that says 61,000. That is not correct. Instead, we take this 1 and add it to the 6. So instead, 980 rounds up to 1,000, but we have the thousands place value. So this 6 needs to turn into a 7 for 7,000 because the next 100 is 10, which turns into 1,000, which means you have to add 1 to 6. So 6,980 rounds up to 7,000. Be sure to check your work. The next number we're going to round is 571,491. Please copy this down. Now we need to identify the number in the hundreds place value, which is 4. We will circle the 9 because the 9 will tell us how to round. We can ignore the 5, the 7, and the 1. Which two hundreds is 491 between? It is between 400 and 500. 0 to 4 tells us to round down. 5 to 9 tells us to round up. The 9 tells 491 to round up to 500. So when we write our answer, we will write 571,000 and then 500. 571,500 because the 9 tells the 4 to round up. Be sure to check your work. The next number we're going to round is 87,836. Let's identify the hundreds place value, which is 8, and then we'll circle the 3 because the 3 will tell us how to round. We will ignore the 8 and the 7. Which two numbers is 836 between? Between 800 and 900. If you remember, 0 to 4 will round down, 5 to 9 will round up. The 3 tells 836 to round down to 800. So when we write our answer, we'll write 87,800. We get the 87,000 from the number, and then 800 because the 3 tells 836 to round down. Be sure to check your work. There are only a few more numbers left. The next number we're going to round is 9,354. Please copy that down. We'll identify the number in the hundreds place value, which is 3. We'll look at the 5, which will tell us how to round. We will ignore the 9. Which two hundreds is 354 between? It is between 300 and 400. If you remember, 0 to 4 rounds down, 5 to 9 rounds up. The 5 tells 354 to round up. So when we write our answer, we'll write 9,400. We'll write 9,000 from the original number, and then 400 because the 5 tells 354 to round up. Be sure to check your work. The final number to round is 56,226. Please copy this down. 56,226. First, let's identify the number in the hundreds place value, which is 2. Then circle the number that will tell us how to round, which is also 2. We can ignore the 5 and the 6. Which two numbers is 226 between? It is between 200 and 300. If you remember, 0 to 4 goes down, 5 to 9 goes up. The 2 is the one that will tell us how to round. The 2 tells 226 to round down to 200. When we write our answer, we'll write 56,200. We'll get 56,000 from the original problem, and then 200 because the 2 tells 226 to round down. Be sure to check your work. In this lesson, we practice rounding to the hundreds place value in large numbers. Thank you for following along.